Welcome back to part 3 of the Introduction to Climate Change Science, narrated by Robert Bourgeois for a course Introduction to Global Studies at Albertus Magnus College. This is part of a curricular project in fulfillment of the requirements of a workshop at Yale University and their programs in international educational resources, which in the summer of 2015 focused on climate change and food security. We left at looking at the complexity of interactions of the 5 components of climate, which all interact and change very gradually over time. And as we know, climate changes. Climate has always changed. We're looking here at interactions of the atmosphere, the biosphere, the hydrosphere, the geosphere. And when the Earth was created out of a supernova 4.6 billion years ago, there was no biosphere because there was no life on Earth. Biosphere is that thin region of the Earth, which includes the oceans and the glaciers and the Earth, where everything that we care about exists, namely life. But life came about in about 3.85 billion years ago. So about 600 million years after the creation of the Earth, life appeared. And since then, the climate has always been changing. What does climate change look like now in areas that we would recognize? Well, here's a picture of Rocky Mountain National Park. This is in Colorado. It's located in the front range of the Rocky Mountains in the north central region of the United States state of Colorado. It's 415 square miles of beauty. This picture was taken about mid-20th century. And this is what the same spot looks like today. As you can see, there's much less green and the pine trees are dying. What's happened is that the warming of the area has made it possible for bark beetles to come in and nest within the bark and hatch and develop, and they kill trees. They are a part of nature, so technically they're not the result of an invasion by another species or of man. However, in the past, cold, hard winters would kill the beetle eggs and the larvae which were embedded inside the bark. But average winter temperatures in the Rocky Mountains have been higher than normal over the last 10 to 20 years. And the trees have also been weakened by prolonged periods of low precipitation. In other words, the area is drying. So this combination has led to a vast outbreak of beetles. Let's look at another example of climate change. Oh, before we go to another example, this is the climate change report of 2007 done by the Interior Department, and it's about climate change in Rocky Mountain National Park. It's very clear, shows you how professional and admirable the publications are of the government. The subtitle of this report is Preservation in the Face of Uncertainty. And so that's what we're facing, where the future is always unknown, there's always uncertainty, but we have many scientists who are struggling to understand the dynamics of the change that we find ourselves in. This is also from that same report on Rocky Mountain National Park. It shows the temperature change for the century between 1908 through 2007. It shows 5-year average temperatures compared to the 20th century average. So this straight line here is the 20th century average, and you can see for the first like 2/3 of the century it was hovering above and below the average, but then in the last part of the century it just started to accelerate. And that's for the West as a whole, and this is for Colorado, just the state, and you can see that it has quite a similar curve. And the conclusion here is that observations of climate in the West indicate an irrefutable pattern of warming in the 20th century. Here's another graph or chart for a figure from the same report, the Rocky Mountain National Park. And what it shows is the average temperatures between 2000 and 2006 the early part of the 21st century, compared to the average of the 20th century as a whole. And the redder it is, the warmer it is compared to the average of the prior century. So what you can see is that the interior of the West is the epicenter of warming in the lower 48. This is the end of part 3, and we will come back for part 4 in the next screencast.